In this video, I'm going to share with you a system that I created to change my self-concept. And when I did, this has completely changed my life. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand how to use this system so that you can shift your self-concept and completely change your life too. Now, I didn't just do this in one area of my life. I actually did it in two completely different areas. I did this in my romantic life because before this, I constantly got rejected. I constantly found people who were not emotionally open, or maybe they gave me some breadcrumbs, and I was never emotionally satisfied. I always was insecure. I was uneasy. Were they going to leave? Were they going to stay? What did I need to do? Hyper fixated on how that person felt about me. And my jealousy was off the charts. And after I used this system, I was able to revalue myself. And when I did, it completely changed who I was attracted to, how I related to myself in relationships, which opened an ability to connect in that relationship that I've never before experienced. Now, the other area of my life that I changed my self-concept was my athletic world, my career. So in the first part of my life, I was an athlete, and I spent from 9 years old all the way through my mid-20s, chasing after different levels of excellence. As I went through my career, I made it to college, and then everything started to go downward. And I was actually getting worse and worse and worse every year. The harder I tried, the worse I do. Now, that was until an Olympic gold medalist actually recommended a book, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, which was really the first step in this entire journey I've been on about self-image and identity. After that, I was able to transition to be a two-time NCAA All-American, as well as make an indoor world championship and represent the USA in Spain. Now, before we get going, I want to share a quote by Neville to really communicate how pivotal your self-concept is. And that quote is, "Change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Do not try to change people. They are only messengers telling you who you are. Revalue yourself and they will confirm the change." Realize that all of that is an internal situation. To make this video as easy to understand as possible, I'm going to be focusing using this system specifically on how I shifted my self-concept in relationships. Now, I want to show you how my self-concept was constructed at the very, very beginning of my life so that you can apply it to your own life. So as a child, we are dependent on adults to attune emotionally to us, to help us understand different situations and have a sense of security within us. Now, if that's not the case, there's two different sides of the coin that you might have experienced. Now, you could have had the most loving, caring, well-intentioned human being, but since we're all humans, meaning we're all imperfect. So if your emotional caregiver, maybe they had the best of intentions, but they were really busy with work, trying to provide for you, but you didn't have their physical presence. So they actually crossed a boundary too far away from you. And maybe they were also, they had their own stuff. So sometimes emotionally they kind of disconnect and disassociate. So even if they're physically there, mentally, emotionally, you could feel they're not there. So this could make you feel, oh, in order to connect, I need to chase. I need to go over here because if I stay where I am, I'm going to have nothing. So I need to be hyper fixated on the other person for my sense of safety, for my needs. And when you learn this, you learn to leave your needs. Basically, you learn to ghost yourself, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But in this situation, if I was worthy, they would have stayed with me. I wouldn't have to chase them. So what is that construct of a self-concept? I must be unworthy. Or maybe if I was enough, then they would have come to me. And since they didn't come to me, since they didn't attune, since they, were too far away, I must be not enough. And to get their attention and to connect, I have to earn it, right? So that's one. This is an anxious attachment, but this is really important, in my opinion, to start to understand where the self-concept is constructed from, so we can start deconstructing it. Now, maybe you're on the other side of this dynamic. Maybe rather than somebody crossing your boundaries too far away, maybe they just crossed your boundaries too close. Maybe that's a helicopter parent. Maybe that's a overbearing parent, right? Still could be good intentions, but maybe it was a physically abusive parent or, other terrible situations that caused a breach of your sense of safety. You could feel that since you had this, the connection, you might be betrayed, right? You have to move away. Space is your ability to stay safe. But if you get close, you might feel like you might be betrayed, or that connection is dangerous, or maybe they did this because you're unworthy. So this constructs your self-concept when it comes to relationships. But I want to share with you how I learned to step out of this. I had to bring adult me into the equation, meaning that this little girl, this little child here, thought she is unworthy because they left, because they weren't there. And surely it's my fault. I'm the limitation. And maybe I'm just not enough, and that's why. And I have to earn love, right? But with my adult mind, I could see, oh my God, you're precious. You're amazing. Of course you were worthy. They couldn't meet you there, not because what you lacked, because they didn't have the space or capacity. That doesn't make them a bad person. But at the end of the day, your need didn't get met. And it's important to advocate for that. So as I saw this and related differently to myself, I could see, oh, I wasn't unworthy. That limitation was their inability to give me what I needed, not because I had a need that was too much or I didn't deserve the need to be met and they really had it, they were holding back, and if I earned it, then they would give it to me. No, I was actually enough to begin with. I am a soul in a human body on earth. I qualify. I am worthy and deserving, and so are you. And then also realizing, oh, love is never earned. Love is not a transaction, right? You can transact with people in different actions, but that doesn't make it love. Love is freely given. And again, since I'm deserving and worthy, I deserve love. And I always did. So only when I saw this and reasoned, used my left brain, my logical brain, to upgrade this situation and relate differently, it gave me the space to see myself differently and revalue myself. But let me show you now how I utilize this in real time, which is a massive part of this entire piece. Now, if this video is resonating and you want a little bit more help on applying this directly to your life, I am available currently for one-on-one sessions where we'll sit down and I will help you gain more awareness and help you understand what steps you can take so you can step out of the old self-concept and start creating that new concept of yourself. If you're interested, go ahead and click the link below, fill out a form, and I will email you. You know what it's time for. It's time to mind the gap. So here we are again, because this is really what changed my life. Yes, relating differently to my old experience helped give me the space to see and revalue myself. But the thing that will literally change your lens of what you see, your self-concept is essentially the lens. It's the mind you've constructed that is adaptable and is always changing, is dynamic. But it is heavily influenced by experience. So in the moment, when you're minding the gap, if you keep going with the old concept of yourself, if you respond with the old concept in the moment, you enforce that same lens of the world. And so you attract people that will match up to you that way, that will disappoint you emotionally or betray you or reject you or abandon you, or you'll be attracted to that energy because the concept of yourself relates and is equal to that. Your level of consciousness is equal, and you'll only be able to interact, correspond with situations, people, and circumstances that equates to that level of consciousness. When you choose the new choice in the moment, it gives you new experiences, and that completely reshapes your mind. Now, your mind is a function of your brain. Our brain is the actual physical stuff. Our mind is a specific wiring based on your early on childhood experiences, based on your current experiences, and based on the value you have of yourself. So in the moment for me, one big situation is the time where I had this person. Now realize this, specifically in romantic relationships, as you start to like somebody more, these old wounds, these old fears are going to come up. And the only way to change them is to have a sense of stability and safety within you and make a new choice anyway. And you can have a sense of safety and still be scared at the same time, but you have to trust yourself. The root, the etymology of confidence is trust, full of trust. So for my situation, I started to like this new person. As I had that new concept of myself, this old fear came up from the past. Oh no, if I don't reject myself, if I don't abandon myself, I can't connect. Oh no, I have a need for consistency. I think that might be too much for them. Okay, I'm starting to tell the story. If I ask for what I need, I'm too much. I'm going to have to chase them and I have to do everything by, okay, I'm telling the old story. I got to breathe. Okay, remember, because minding the gap includes ABC. Awareness of it. Okay, I'm really afraid right now. I feel that if I ask for more time, they're going to freak out and run away. I'm breathing. I'm understanding what's going on. I'm somatically connecting to myself. I'm not going hallucinating and going back to the past where I was powerless and I was stuck and I was helpless, hoping this person would choose me, because that's the childhood dynamic. Okay, what's the new choice? Okay, even though I'm super uncomfortable, I know it's more dangerous and it's more detrimental and more painful to abandon myself to please them, which is the old story. So I'm going to make a new choice. I'm going to ask for what I need. Hey, consistency is really important to me. How do you feel about once a week having dinner? Maybe going for a walk together, right? And that's literally what I did. And in that moment, it was scary. But in that moment, I chose myself. I stayed connected to myself because I revalued myself based on step 1. So when I'm able to apply it in step 2 in real time, I'm able to create different experiences which literally shape a new mind, a new lens. And we get between 20 to 50 million pieces of information through your subconscious. And based on your value system of yourself, only 40 pieces of those millions are allowed to your conscious awareness. Meaning that you could have somebody emotionally available, but if you have the old concept, you'll literally not be able to perceive it with your senses. So in that moment, I did awareness of the old story, an awareness of that desire to abandon myself so that they'd accept me, so I could be connected. But that wasn't true. That was the old story. That was the old concept. I breathed, I stayed connected to myself. I refused to emotionally abandon myself by making the other person's opinion of me my sense of safety. And what did I do? I made a new choice. I asked for my need. I needed to understand myself to the degree to understand my needs, but when I did, I was able to actually advocate for them, because little me couldn't, right? Little me didn't have a choice. As children, there's a power imbalance. The adults basically are the authorities, they're the gods, right? And we have to do what they say, and we have to be accepted by them because our survival depends on it. So when you get these like physiological, oh God, I'm so scared. Well, it makes sense. You're in the past. Anytime you feel powerless, you feel stuck, you feel hopeless or helpless, you're in that old story, the childhood dynamic. So try to come to your breath. Stay connected. Understand, how can I take care of myself in this moment? I can ask for what I need. I can advocate for myself. I can ground. Maybe I'll go for a walk, which will help reduce that fear lens. Because as you're walking, there's a nerve in your eye that's scanning so you don't trip. But that nerve is actually pulling power from your amygdala. Your amygdala is over here scanning for threats. So if you're draining power from the fear scanner, you're actually able to see the world more clearly without the fear. Maybe it's about creating something, right? Maybe you go journal. But how can you take care of yourself in this moment? Are you going to choose the old? Or are you going to choose the new? Another huge thing here is understanding what your needs are. I'm going to include a link below that's going to give you a list of needs so you can start exploring and understanding what your needs are. When you utilize this system, re-relating to yourself so you can revalue yourself. And then 2, implementing that new valuation system in real time, you will completely change your life, because you literally will be thinking, feeling, and acting in a new way. In the words of Dr. Joe Dispenza, that is a new state of being. And when you go to a new state of being, you experience completely new realities. The same as if you went from the 3rd floor of a skyscraper to the 5th floor. It's an entirely new set of circumstances, and you are worth it and you deserve it. Now, there's one thing that has dramatically helped me by using my external circumstances, and that's the mirror technique. And this next video right here is going to break down exactly how you can use the mirror technique to start creating inner change that will be reflected back to you in your outside world. So check that out right here. I love y'all. Thank you for watching.